They say revenge is a dish best served cold. What they don't tell you is how satisfying it tastes when you've been planning the menu for months. My name is Brent Marrow, and tonight I'm standing on the rooftop of Sterling Creative Agency, watching my wife of 20 years hand me divorce papers in front of her entire office. The summer air is thick with barbecue smoke and the kind of fake laughter that comes from people who think they're better than everyone else. "Sign here, Brent," Rory says, her voice dripping with the confidence of someone who thinks she holds all the cards. She's wearing that red dress I bought her for our anniversary last year. The irony isn't lost on me. Logan Channing stands beside her, his arm casually draped around her waist like he owns her. Maybe he thinks he does. Logan's the type of guy who peaked in college and has been coasting on his trust fund and good looks ever since. Creative director at Sterling, which in a town like ours means he's basically royalty among the coffee shop intellectuals and weekend artists. "Right here?" I ask, taking the pen she offers. My voice is steady, conversational, like we're discussing weekend plans instead of dissolving 2 decades of marriage. The crowd has formed a circle around us. I recognize most of them: account executives, graphic designers, social media managers, who think posting pictures of their avocado toast makes them influencers. Rory's best friend, Zara has her phone out, naturally. She's been documenting every moment of Rory's journey to authenticity for the past 6 months. I sign each page with deliberate care. My handwriting is neat, controlled. Each signature is a small performance for the audience that thinks they're watching my humiliation. "There," I say, handing the papers back to Rory. "All done." The crowd starts to applaud. Actually applaud. Like this is some kind of empowerment moment instead of a woman throwing away her family for a guy who still uses hair gel. I lean in close to Rory, close enough that only she can hear me. "You have no idea what you've just done to yourself." Her smile falters for just a second, just long enough for me to know she heard the promise in my voice. I walk away from the circle, past the artisanal food trucks and craft beer stations, toward the elevator. Behind me, I can hear Logan's voice, loud and performative. "Freedom looks good on you, babe." The elevator doors close, and I allow myself a small smile. They think they've won. They think the quiet, blue-collar husband is just going to shuffle away and lick his wounds. They're about to learn how wrong they are. My phone buzzes as I reach the parking garage. A text from Colby, Rory's younger brother. "Sorry, man. She's lost her mind." Colby's always been the reasonable one in that family. He works construction, gets his hands dirty for a living. He never bought into Rory's reinvention as a creative professional. I text back, "Don't worry about it. Everything works out the way it's supposed to." Logan's silver Tesla is parked in the VIP section because of course it is. I walk past it slowly, noting the license plate, Creative 1. The vanity of it makes my teeth ache. But I don't do anything to the car. Not yet. Tonight was just the opening act. I drive home through the familiar streets of our neighborhood, Maple Ridge Estates, where the houses are large enough to mask your troubles, and the lawns are lush enough to make you forget you're living in a town that's been fading for decades. Our house, my house now, I suppose, sits at the end of Sycamore Drive. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, granite countertops that Rory insisted we needed. The mortgage I've been paying while she spent her paychecks on yoga classes and weekend retreats about finding herself. Inside, everything is exactly as she left it this morning. Coffee cup in the sink, fashion magazines scattered on the counter, her laptop still open to some article about living your truth after 40. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I pour myself a whiskey and sit in my leather chair, the one piece of furniture in this house that's actually mine. The ice clinks against the glass as I think about the look on Logan's face when Rory handed me those papers. Smug satisfaction mixed with nervous energy. He wanted to be there for his moment of triumph, but he was smart enough to be scared of me too. Good. He should be scared. My phone rings. Danny, our daughter. She's 19, home from college for the summer, and she's been staying at her friend's place since the big announcement 3 days ago. Dad? Her voice is small, uncertain. I saw Zara's Instagram story. Yeah, well, your mom always did like an audience. Are you okay? I take a sip of whiskey, feeling the burn. I'm perfect, sweetheart. Better than I've been in months. This is so weird. I keep thinking you guys will work it out. Some things can't be worked out, Danny. Some things just need to be finished properly. After we hang up, I walk upstairs to what used to be our bedroom. Rory's side of the closet is half empty. She's been moving her things out gradually, probably to Logan's downtown loft. The expensive clothes, the jewelry, the shoes that cost more than most people's car payments. I open my laptop and start making lists: bank accounts, credit cards, insurance policies, investment accounts. 20 years of building a life together means 20 years of financial entanglement. Rory thinks she can just walk away from all of this with her half and start fresh. She's about to discover that divorce isn't just about signing papers. I spend the next 2 hours going through our finances with the thoroughness of an accountant preparing for an audit. Every joint account, every shared credit card, every automatic payment that comes out of my business account to fund her lifestyle. By the time I close the laptop, I have a clear picture of exactly how much leverage I have. It's more than she realizes. Much more. My phone buzzes with a notification. Zara has posted the video of tonight's divorce signing on Instagram. The caption reads, "When queens reclaim their power, so proud of my girl Rory for choosing happiness." Divorce party. Living her truth. New beginnings. The video has already gotten 47 likes and a dozen comments. People I've known for years, people who've eaten dinner at my table, offering congratulations to my wife for leaving me. I screenshot everything. Documentation is important when you're planning a campaign. I finish my whiskey and head to bed. Tomorrow, the real work begins. Tonight was their celebration. Everything after this belongs to me. As I turn off the lights, I think about Logan's Tesla in that parking garage, about Rory's confident smile, about Zara's phone camera capturing what she thought was my moment of defeat. They have no idea what they've started, but they're going to learn. Sleep comes easily. For the first time in months, I'm not lying awake wondering what my wife is really doing when she says she's working late. I know exactly what she's doing, and more importantly, I know exactly what I'm going to do about it. The war is just beginning. I wake up at 5:30, same as always. Rory used to complain about my early schedule, said it was obsessive. Now I realize it was just preparation for this moment, having the discipline to execute a plan while my enemies are still sleeping off their celebration. My first stop is O'Leary's boxing gym, a converted warehouse on the industrial side of town. Coach Patrick O'Leary opened this place 30 years ago when the steel plant closed and half the town needed somewhere to work out their frustration. It's not pretty. Cracked concrete floors, heavy bags that have seen better decades, and the permanent smell of sweat and determination. "You're here early, even for you," Coach says as I wrap my hands. He's 68, built like a fire hydrant, and has the kind of wisdom that only comes from getting punched in the face professionally for 15 years. "Couldn't sleep," I lie, throwing my first combination at the heavy bag. "Heard about last night. Whole town's talking about it." That's the thing about living in a place like Millbrook, population 47,000 and shrinking. Everyone knows everyone else's business, especially when it involves public humiliation at the fanciest party in town. Let them talk. Coach watches me work the bag for 10 minutes before speaking again. "You know, when I was fighting professionally, I learned something important about taking a beating in public." I pause, gloves still against the leather. "What's that?" "The fight's not over until you say it's over. Doesn't matter how bad it looks in round one." I hit the bag harder. What if you want to do more than just survive the fight? Then you better make sure you're fighting smarter than the other guy, and dirtier if necessary. By 7 a.m., I'm showered and heading to my office. I run a small tech consulting company. Nothing glamorous, but it pays well and gives me the flexibility to work from home when needed. Today, I need to be in the office for appearances. Can't have people thinking I'm falling apart. My assistant, Margaret, has already sorted my mail and started the coffee. She's been with me for 8 years, efficient and discreet. She doesn't mention last night, but I catch her watching me with the careful attention of someone waiting for a breakdown. Normal schedule today? She asks. Actually, I need you to pull together some financial reports. Everything from the last 2 years. Business accounts, personal accounts, joint accounts with Rory. I want a complete picture. Of course. Anything specific you're looking for? Discrepancies, unusual spending patterns, anything that doesn't match up with what I authorized. Margaret nods without asking questions. She's smart enough to know that divorce means financial warfare, and she's loyal enough to help me win. At 10:30, my phone rings. It's the number for Sterling Creative Agency. Brent Marrow. Mr. Marrow, this is Jessica Chen from Human Resources at Sterling. I was hoping you could come in today to discuss a complaint that's been filed. My pulse quickens, but my voice stays calm. What kind of complaint? I'd rather discuss this in person. Would 11:30 work for you? I'll be there. I hang up and smile. They're moving faster than I expected. Rory and her friends think they can use the system against me, file some bogus harassment claim to make me look like the unstable ex-husband. They're about to learn that I've been documenting everything for months. Sterling Creative occupies the top 3 floors of the renovated Millbrook Trust building downtown. It's all exposed brick and industrial lighting, the kind of aggressively trendy space that's supposed to inspire creativity, but mostly just costs a fortune to heat. Jessica Chen meets me in the lobby. She's young, probably fresh out of college, and clearly uncomfortable with whatever she's been asked to do. Thank you for coming, Mr. Marrow. We can use conference room B. The conference room has floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Main Street. I can see the coffee shop where Rory likes to hold her creative meetings, the boutique where she buys clothes with money from our joint account, the wine bar where she probably took Logan on their first official date. Mr. Marrow, we've received a complaint alleging that you made threatening statements to an employee at last night's event. Which employee? Your wife, ex-wife, Rory Marrow. I lean back in my chair. What exactly did she claim I threatened? Jessica consults her notes. She says you approached her after the divorce papers were signed and made statements that made her fear for her safety. Interesting. Did she happen to mention that this alleged threat was made in front of 50 witnesses? Well, no, but... Or that the entire evening was being live-streamed on social media by her best friend. Jessica's confidence wavers. I wasn't aware of that. I pull out my phone and open Instagram. Here's the video. You can see the exact moment I spoke to Rory. Notice how I lean in, speak quietly, and then walk away. No aggressive gestures, no raised voice, no physical contact. I turn the phone so she can see the screen. The audio isn't great, but if you listen carefully, you can hear what I actually said. Jessica watches the video twice. I'm not sure I can make out the words. I said, "You have no idea what you've just done to yourself," which, given that she just dissolved a 20-year marriage in front of her co-workers, seems like a reasonable observation about the consequences of her choices. I put my phone away and leaned forward. Jessica, can I ask you something? How long have you been in HR? 6 months. And in those 6 months, how many harassment complaints have you handled where the alleged victim filmed the entire interaction and posted it on social media? She doesn't answer. Here's what I think happened. Rory realized that publicly humiliating her husband might not look as empowering as she thought it would. So she decided to get ahead of any potential backlash by claiming I threatened her. It's a smart move, actually. Makes me look like the dangerous ex-husband and her look like the victim. I stand up. But it's also fraud. Filing a false complaint with HR, claiming to fear for her safety while posting celebration videos online. That's the kind of thing that could get someone fired, don't you think? Jessica's face has gone pale. I need to review the evidence more thoroughly. You do that. And Jessica, next time someone asks you to file a complaint like this, maybe ask to see some actual evidence first. I leave Sterling Creative feeling better than I have in weeks. They tried to use the system against me and failed. But more importantly, they've shown me their strategy. They want to paint me as the unstable, threatening ex-husband. Fine. If they want to play the victim, I'll give them something real to be afraid of. That afternoon, I drive to Millbrook Community College, where Danny is taking summer classes. She's studying communications, which in practice seems to mean learning how to make TikTok videos about her feelings. I find her in the student center, laptop open, working on what looks like a video editing project. Hey, sweetheart. She looks up, and I can see the conflict in her eyes. She loves me, but she also loves her mother, and she's 19 years old in a world that tells her to support women's choices no matter what. Dad, what are you doing here? Thought I'd take my daughter to lunch. Is that allowed? We go to Murphy's Diner, the kind of place that's been serving the same menu since 1987. Danny orders a salad because she's convinced that carbs are evil. I get a burger because I'm old enough to know that life's too short to eat food you don't enjoy. So, I say after we order, how are you handling all this? It's weird. I keep expecting you and Mom to announce that it's all some kind of mistake. No mistake, Danny. Your mother's been planning this for months. She says she's been unhappy for years. I'm sure she has been. It's hard work being married to someone who pays your bills while you figure out who you want to be. Danny flinches. That's not fair. Isn't it? When's the last time your mother worked a full 40-hour week? When's the last time she worried about money, or insurance, or keeping the lights on? She works hard at Sterling. She works part-time at Sterling, 25 hours a week maximum. The rest of her time is spent at yoga classes and coffee shops, talking about her creative projects that never seem to get finished. Our food arrives, and we eat in silence for a few minutes. Finally, Danny speaks up. Logan seems nice. I nearly choke on my burger. Logan seems nice? I met him last week. Mom brought him to coffee. What did you think of him? He's different from you. More artistic, I guess. Artistic? Right. I take a sip of coffee. Did your artistic mother mention that Logan's been married twice before? Or that he's currently paying alimony to both ex-wives? Danny's fork stops halfway to her mouth. What? Public records, sweetheart. His first wife divorced him for cheating. His second wife divorced him for cheating and financial irresponsibility. Your mother is wife number 3. How do you know all this? Because when someone wants to break up my family, I make it my business to know who they are. Danny puts down her fork. This is so messed up. Yes, it is. But it's not my mess, Danny. I didn't choose this. That evening, I'm back home, working on my laptop when my phone buzzes. It's a notification from TikTok. Danny has posted a new video. The video shows her in her dorm room, looking directly into the camera with the kind of earnest expression that gets millions of views from other teenagers who think they understand the world. So my parents are getting divorced, she begins, and it's honestly been really hard to watch. My dad he's not handling it well, like he's becoming this person I don't recognize. He's angry all the time, and he says these things about my mom that are just mean. She goes on for 2 minutes, describing me as controlling and bitter, painting her mother as a woman who just wanted to find happiness. The video ends with her encouraging her followers to support the women in your life who are brave enough to choose themselves. The video has been up for 3 hours and already has 12,000 views. I close the laptop and pour myself another whiskey. They want to make this public? They want to turn my own daughter against me on social media? Perfect. Let them think they're winning. I pick up my phone and call Colby. Hey, Brent, how you holding up? I'm fine. Listen, I need a favor. You still have access to Rory's storage unit? Yeah, she asked me to help her move some stuff there last month. Why? I need to know what she's hiding. There's a pause. Brent, I don't know if I should. Colby, your sister just convinced my daughter to make a TikTok video calling me an abusive husband. She filed a false harassment complaint at her office. She's not just leaving me, she's trying to destroy me. Another pause. What do you need to know? Everything. What's in there, when she's been accessing it, who has keys, everything. I'll call you tomorrow. After I hang up, I sit in my chair and think about the video Danny posted, about the comments from her friends, all supporting her brave mother and condemning her toxic father. They want a villain? Fine. I'll be the villain. But I'll be a villain who wins. Colby calls at 7 a.m. sharp. His voice is tight with the kind of guilt that comes from betraying family, even when family deserves it. The storage unit's on Industrial Drive, Unit 247. She's got boxes of financial records going back 5 years, some expensive jewelry I've never seen before, and about $20,000 worth of designer clothes with the tags still on them. Tags still on? Yeah, like she's been buying stuff and hiding it, planning to return it maybe, or... He trails off. Or building a secret wardrobe for her new life. There's something else, Brent. She's been meeting someone there. I drove by yesterday afternoon and saw her car parked outside with another vehicle, not Logan's Tesla. My grip tightens on the phone. What kind of car? Black BMW. Looked expensive. License plate? I got a partial. Started with JTF. After we hang up, I spend an hour running license plate searches through a private investigator database I've used for business background checks. JTF leads me to James Theodore Fletcher, Rory's boss at Sterling Creative. So she's not just cheating with Logan, she's cheating with her boss too. This keeps getting better. I drive to the gym early, needing to work out the energy that comes from discovering your wife is even more duplicitous than you thought. Coach O'Leary is already there, working the speed bag with the rhythm of a man who's been doing this for 50 years. You look like someone who just found out Christmas came early, he says without stopping his routine. Something like that. Word of advice? When your opponent gives you more ammunition than you know what to do with, don't get greedy. Use what you need, save the rest for later. Smart man, Coach O'Leary. By 9 a.m., I'm parked outside Logan's building downtown. The Meridian Tower is the newest luxury high-rise in Millbrook, all glass and steel pretension. Logan lives on the 15th floor in a corner unit that probably costs more per month than most people make in a year. His Tesla is parked in the building's garage, still displaying that ridiculous Creative One license plate. I walk around the vehicle slowly, noting the custom paint job, the upgraded rims, the tiny dent on the passenger side that he probably doesn't even know about. I don't touch the car, not yet, but I do place a small GPS tracking device under the rear bumper. If Logan and Rory are going to continue their little romance, I want to know where and when. My phone buzzes with a text from Margaret. Financial reports are ready. You're going to want to see this. Back at the office, Margaret has 3 thick folders waiting on my desk. Her expression is grim. How bad? I ask. Bad. She's been siphoning money from your joint accounts for 8 months. Small amounts, never enough to trigger automatic alerts, but it adds up to about $37,000. I flip through the first folder. Transfers to accounts I don't recognize. Cash withdrawals from ATMs across town. Payments to credit cards that aren't in my name. There's more, Margaret continues. She's been using the business credit card for personal expenses. Restaurants, clothing stores, a weekend spa retreat that cost $4,000. Can we prove it was her? I pulled the security footage from 3 of the stores. She's clearly visible making purchases with your business card. I lean back in my chair, processing this information. Credit card fraud, embezzlement, theft. Rory's been building her exit strategy for months, funding her new life with money stolen from our marriage and my business. Margaret, I need you to close all joint accounts immediately. Transfer everything to accounts that only have my name on them. Already started. I'll have it finished by noon. And cancel her access to the business credit cards. Done. By the time I finish reviewing the financial reports, I have a clear picture of just how calculated Rory's betrayal has been. This wasn't a woman who fell out of love and made a mistake. This was a woman who planned her escape, funded it with stolen money, and lined up multiple backup options. The GPS tracker on Logan's car shows he's currently at Sterling Creative. Perfect. Time for a little visit. I park across the street from the Millbrook Trust building and wait. At 12:15, Logan emerges and walks to his Tesla. He's wearing a navy suit that probably costs more than most people's monthly salary, and he moves with the confident swagger of a man who thinks he's untouchable. He drives to Café Luna, the trendy bistro where Millbrook's creative class goes to be seen. Through the window, I watch him take a corner table and order what looks like a kale salad and sparkling water. Everything about him screams performance. The way he sits, the way he checks his phone, the way he makes eye contact with other diners to make sure they notice him. I walk into the cafe and approach his table. Logan, mind if I sit down? He looks up, and I can see the calculation in his eyes. He's scared, but he's also curious, and he's in public, which makes him feel safe. Brent, I wasn't expecting to see you here. I sit down without waiting for permission. I imagine there are a lot of things you weren't expecting. Look, I know this situation is awkward. Awkward? I lean forward. Logan, you've been sleeping with my wife for 6 months. You convinced her to humiliate me in public. You're helping her steal money from our joint accounts. I'd say we're well beyond awkward. His face goes pale. I don't know what you're talking about with any money. $37,000, Logan, transferred to accounts that fund your little romantic getaways. Did you really think I wouldn't notice? That's between you and Rory. No, Logan. The moment you decided to participate, it became between you and me. I pull out my phone and show him a photo I took of his license plate. Nice car, custom paint job, upgraded sound system, must have cost a fortune. What's your point? My point is that expensive cars require expensive maintenance, and sometimes, despite our best efforts, accidents happen. Logan's confidence is starting to crack. Are you threatening me? I'm just making conversation about automotive care. For instance, did you know that brake fluid is highly corrosive? If it accidentally spilled on a car's paint job, it could cause thousands of dollars in damage. I stand up. Enjoy your lunch, Logan, and maybe think about finding a new parking spot. The garage at your building doesn't have very good security cameras. I walk away, leaving him staring at his phone, probably trying to figure out if I'm bluffing. That evening, I drive to the storage facility on Industrial Drive. Unit 247 is in the back section, away from the main office and security lights. I don't have a key, but I don't need one. I just need to confirm what Colby told me. Rory's car is parked outside, along with the black BMW belonging to James Fletcher. Through the thin metal walls of the storage unit, I can hear voices. I move closer, using my phone to record whatever I can pick up. Can't keep doing this. Rory's voice, stressed and urgent. It's only until the divorce is final, Fletcher's voice, older, authoritative. Then we can be more open about our relationship. What about Logan? Logan's a distraction. He thinks he's your future, but he's just cover for what's really happening. I record for 10 more minutes, getting enough audio to confirm that Rory's been playing multiple angles. Logan thinks he's her new boyfriend. Fletcher thinks he's her real future, and both of them think they're smarter than her stupid husband. They're all about to learn how wrong they are. The next morning, I'm back at the gym when my phone rings. It's Danny. Dad? My credit card isn't working. Which credit card? The one you gave me for emergencies. The store says it's been canceled. I pause my workout. That's because it has been canceled. along with every other account that your mother had access to. What? Why? Because your mother has been stealing money from me for 8 months, Danny. $37,000 to be exact. Silence on the other end. I'm cutting off her access to funds she was never entitled to in the first place. If you need money for legitimate expenses, you can ask me directly. This is crazy, Dad. You can't just cut off all her money. Watch me. I hang up and get back to work on the heavy bag. Each punch feels better than the last. My phone buzzes with notifications. Rory has been trying to use her credit cards all morning. Gas station, coffee shop, grocery store, all declined. By noon, she'll realize that her comfortable lifestyle has just evaporated. At 2:30 p.m., my phone rings. It's Rory. What have you done? Her voice is shaking with rage. I've protected my assets from further theft. Did you really think I wouldn't notice the money you've been stealing? That money was from our joint accounts. Money that I earned from my business that you had no right to take without permission. I'm your wife. You're my soon-to-be ex-wife who filed for divorce 3 days ago. You don't get to have it both ways, Rory. You can't do this. I just did. If you need money, get a job. A real job. 40 hours a week like the rest of us. I hang up and immediately call my lawyer to make sure everything I've done is legal. It is. In fact, given the evidence of her theft, I could probably have her arrested if I wanted to. But that would end the game too quickly. And I'm just getting started. That evening, I drive past Logan's building. His Tesla is parked in its usual spot, but something's different. The custom paint job now has 3 long scratches down the driver's side, and someone has used a key to carve the word cheater into the hood. I didn't do it. But I have a pretty good idea who did. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Your wife isn't the only one who can play games. A friend. Interesting. Apparently, Logan has enemies I don't know about. This is going to be even more fun than I thought. I drive home with a smile on my face. Tomorrow, things get serious. The next morning brings a call from Zara Fincher. She's trying to sound casual, but I can hear the panic underneath. Brent? Hi, it's Zara. I was wondering if we could talk. About what, Zara? About everything that's happening. I think there might be some misunderstandings. No misunderstandings on my end. Your best friend left me for 2 different men and stole $40,000 in the process. Pretty clear situation. 40,000? I thought you said 37. Interesting. She's been talking to Rory, and Rory's been minimizing the theft. The number keeps growing as I find more irregularities. Look, can we meet? Just for coffee? I think if we talked face to face, we could work something out. What kind of something, Zara? I have information you might want about Rory, about Logan, about other people. Now she has my attention. Murphy's Diner. 1 hour. Zara arrives 10 minutes late, which is early for her. She's dressed down, jeans and a sweater instead of her usual designer everything. Her hands shake slightly as she orders coffee. You look nervous, Zara. I should be, if Rory knew I was here. But she doesn't know, which means you're here for your own reasons, not hers. Zara takes a deep breath. Rory's in trouble, Brent. Real trouble. What kind of trouble? She owes money, a lot of money, to people who don't accept late payments. I lean back in my chair. Explain. You know how she's been talking about starting her own agency? Her big creative venture? The one that never seems to get past the planning stage. She's been taking investors, private investors, people who gave her money based on promises she can't keep. How much money? $80,000, maybe more. I whistle softly. And where did she tell these investors their money was going? Equipment, office space, hiring talent, but she's been using it to fund her lifestyle. The clothes, the spa treatments, the romantic getaways with Logan. So she's running a scam. She calls it creative financing, but yeah, it's a scam. Zara pulls out her phone and shows me a series of text messages. They're from men I don't recognize, asking about returns on their investments, wondering when they'll see business plans, demanding meetings. Why are you telling me this, Zara? Because one of those investors is my cousin Tony. He gave Rory $15,000 last month, and now he's asking me questions I can't answer. And you're afraid Tony's going to figure out that you recommended a fraud to him? Tony's not the kind of person who handles disappointment well. I study Zara's face. She's genuinely scared, which means Tony is genuinely dangerous. This adds an interesting element to the situation. What do you want from me? Help me convince Rory to give the money back, before this gets worse. Zara, Rory doesn't have the money to give back. She's spent it all. Then what's going to happen? That depends on how creative Tony gets when he realizes he's been conned. I finish my coffee and stand up. Thanks for the information, Zara. I'm sure it wasn't easy to betray your best friend. I'm not betraying her. I'm trying to save her. Same thing, in the end. That afternoon, I drive to Sterling Creative for a meeting I've arranged with James Fletcher. He thinks I want to discuss Rory's employment status. He's about to discover that I know much more than he realizes. Fletcher's office is on the top floor, all windows and modern furniture. He's in his 50s, silver-haired and distinguished in the way that comes from inherited wealth and expensive dental work. Brent, thank you for coming. Please sit down. Thanks for making time, James. I wanted to discuss Rory's situation here at Sterling. Obviously, the personal circumstances create some workplace complications. Obviously, especially when those personal circumstances involve the boss sleeping with his employee. Fletcher's composure doesn't crack, but I see his jaw tighten slightly. I'm not sure what you're implying. I pull out my phone and play the audio I recorded at the storage unit. Fletcher's voice comes through clearly. It's only until the divorce is final. Then we can be more open about our relationship. The color drains from Fletcher's face. That's an interesting conversation, don't you think? Especially the part where you discuss Logan being a distraction. Fletcher stands up and walks to his window. What do you want? I want the truth. How long have you been sleeping with my wife? 6 months. Before or after she started sleeping with Logan? Before. Logan was my suggestion. Cover for our relationship until her divorce was final. I laugh. So Logan thinks he stole my wife, but really he's just your patsy. That's brilliant, James. Absolutely brilliant. It's complicated. It's fraud. You're using company resources to fund an extramarital affair, manipulating a subordinate employee, and conspiring to defraud a spouse in divorce proceedings. Fletcher turns back to face me. What do you want? I want Rory fired, immediately, and I want documentation of every company resource she's used for personal purposes. I can't just fire her without cause. I stand up and walk to his desk. James, I have audio of you admitting to an affair with a subordinate. I have financial records showing company funds used for personal expenses. I have evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud. Trust me, you have cause. And if I don't, then I take everything I have to the Sterling Board of Directors, the State Labor Board, and Rory's investors who are looking for their money back. Fletcher sits down heavily. She'll be terminated by end of business today. Excellent. And James, if I were you, I'd start looking for a new job. When this all comes out, and it will come out, Sterling's going to need a scapegoat. I leave Fletcher's office feeling better than I have in weeks. Rory's about to lose her job, her income, and one of her 2 boyfriends. But I'm not done yet. That evening, I drive to the warehouse district on the east side of town. It's an area of abandoned factories and empty lots, the kind of place where Millbrook's industrial past goes to die. But it's also the kind of place where you can have private conversations without being overheard. I've arranged to meet Logan here. He thinks I want to negotiate some kind of truce. He's wrong. Logan's Tesla is already parked in the lot of an abandoned textile factory. He's standing beside it, checking his phone nervously. The scratches on his car have been repaired, but I can still see where someone tried to key cheater into the hood. Brent, I wasn't sure you'd actually show up. I said I'd be here. Look, I know you're angry. Angry? I interrupt. Logan, I'm not angry. Angry is what you feel when someone cuts you off in traffic. What I feel about you is much more specific. What do you want? I want you to understand your situation. You think you're Rory's new boyfriend, her fresh start, her ticket to happiness. But you're not. What are you talking about? I pull out my phone and play the audio from the storage unit. Logan's face changes as he hears Fletcher's voice talking about him being a distraction, a cover story. Rory's been playing you, Logan. You're not her future. You're her alibi. That can't be right. James Fletcher is her real boyfriend. Has been for 6 months. You're just the public face of her affair, the guy she parades around to make it look like she left me for love instead of money. Logan leans against his car, processing this information. She told me she loved me. She told you what you needed to hear, just like she told Fletcher what he needed to hear, just like she told her investors what they needed to hear. What investors? I spend the next 10 minutes explaining Rory's scam, the $80,000 she's taken from people who think they're funding a business, the web of lies she's built to support her lifestyle. She's been using you, Logan. Your reputation, your connections, your money. You're not her boyfriend. You're her mark. Logan's confidence has completely evaporated. He looks like a man who's just realized he's been played by an expert. What happens now? Now you have a choice. You can keep playing the fool, or you can help me make sure she faces consequences for what she's done. What kind of consequences? The kind that come from defrauding investors, embezzling from spouses, and manipulating multiple men simultaneously. Logan is quiet for a long moment. Finally, he speaks. What do you need me to do? I need you to keep being her boyfriend for a few more days. Act like nothing's changed, but I want you to document everything. Every conversation, every meeting, every lie she tells. And then? And then, we're going to give Rory the public humiliation she deserves. But this time, it's going to be her standing in front of a crowd, trying to explain why she's been lying to everyone. Logan nods slowly. When? Sterling Creative is having their monthly networking event this Friday. Every creative professional in town will be there, including Rory's investors. That's in 3 days. Plenty of time to prepare. Are you in? Logan looks at his scratched Tesla, thinks about the 6 months of lies he's been fed, and nods. I'm in. As I drive home, I feel the satisfaction of pieces falling into place. Rory thinks she's been clever, juggling multiple men and multiple scams. She's about to learn that clever and smart are two very different things. Friday can't come soon enough. Friday evening arrives with the kind of crisp autumn air that makes everything feel possible. The Sterling Creative Networking event is being held at the Riverside Event Center, a converted warehouse with exposed beams and industrial lighting that's supposed to look artistic but mostly just looks expensive. I arrive early and position myself near the back of the room where I can see everything. The crowd is exactly what I expected. Freelance graphic designers, social media consultants, wannabe influencers, and trust fund kids who call themselves entrepreneurs. Rory's people. Logan arrives at 7:30, playing his role perfectly. He's nervous, but he's hiding it well. We make eye contact across the room, and he gives me an almost imperceptible nod. Rory arrives 10 minutes later, and I have to admit she looks stunning. She's wearing a black dress that probably cost more than most people's rent, and she moves through the crowd with the confidence of someone who thinks she's untouchable. What she doesn't know is that half the people in this room are about to learn exactly who she really is. James Fletcher is here too, staying carefully away from Rory, but watching her with the intensity of a man who's realized his career might be over. I fired him this afternoon, or rather, Sterling's board of directors did, after I presented them with evidence of his affair and misuse of company resources. At 8 o'clock, the evening's program begins. There are speeches about creativity and innovation, presentations about new projects, and the kind of networking small talk that makes my skin crawl. I wait patiently for my moment. It comes when Rory takes the stage to talk about her new creative agency. She's been planning this presentation for weeks, using it to recruit more investors for her scam. Tonight, it's going to serve a very different purpose. "Thank you all for coming," Rory begins, her voice confident and clear. "I'm excited to share my vision for Millbrook Creative Collective, a new kind of agency that puts artists first." She talks for 5 minutes about creativity and community, about supporting local talent and building something meaningful. It's a good speech, delivered well. If I didn't know she was a fraud, I might even be impressed. When she finishes and asks for questions, I stand up. "I have a question, Rory." The room turns to look at me. I can see the moment Rory recognizes my voice, the way her confidence falters for just a second before she recovers. "Brent, I didn't expect to see you here." "I'm sure you didn't. My question is about financing. You've been telling potential investors that you need funding for equipment and office space. But I'm curious, where has the money actually been going?" "I'm not sure what you mean." I pull out a folder and begin reading. $87,000 from private investors over the past 4 months. But according to these bank records, none of that money has been spent on business expenses. The room has gone completely quiet. I can see phones coming out as people start recording. Instead, it's been spent on personal expenses, designer clothes, spa treatments, romantic getaways. In fact, it looks like you've been using investor money to fund affairs with multiple men. "That's not true." Rory's composure is cracking. "Isn't it?" I pull out my phone and play the audio recording from the storage unit. Fletcher's voice fills the room, talking about their relationship, about Logan being a distraction. The crowd starts murmuring. I can see several people I recognize as Rory's investors pushing toward the front of the room. "You've been running a scam, Rory, taking money from people who trusted you, lying to multiple romantic partners, stealing from our marriage to fund your lifestyle. You're just bitter because I left you." "No, Rory, I'm bitter because you're a thief." Logan steps forward from the crowd. "She's been lying to me too," he says, his voice carrying clearly. "For 6 months she's been telling me I was the only one while she was sleeping with her boss." The room erupts. People are shouting questions, phones are recording everything, and Rory is standing on stage looking like a deer in headlights. But I'm not done yet. "There's more," I say, and the room quiets down. Rory hasn't just been defrauding investors and cheating on her husband. She's been embezzling from Sterling Creative, using company credit cards for personal expenses, and filing false harassment claims against people who discovered her crimes. I pull out the financial records Margaret prepared, the evidence of Rory's theft from both my accounts and Sterling's. The total amount stolen is over $120,000, from investors, from her husband, from her employer. Someone in the crowd shouts, "Where's our money, Rory?" Another voice, "You said you were starting a business." Rory tries to speak, but her voice is shaking. "This is all a misunderstanding. Brent is trying to destroy me because I left him." "No, Rory," I say, walking toward the stage. "I'm not destroying you. You destroyed yourself. I'm just making sure everyone knows about it." I climb onto the stage and stand next to her. "Ladies and gentlemen, my wife, Rory Marrow, thief, fraud, and expert manipulator. She's stolen your money, lied about her business plans, and used your trust to fund her personal lifestyle." The crowd is getting angry now. I can see several of her investors moving toward the stage, and none of them look happy. "But here's the thing about thieves," I continue. "Eventually, they run out of people to steal from." I turn to face Rory directly. "Your job is gone. Your money is gone. Your boyfriend thinks you're a liar, and your other boyfriend is about to be arrested for fraud conspiracy. Your investors want their money back, and you don't have it." Rory's face has gone completely white. Brent, please. Please what? Please pretend this never happened? Please let you continue stealing from people? Please help you find new victims? I lean closer so only she can hear me. You wanted your freedom, Rory. Congratulations. You're free. Free from your marriage, free from your job, free from your income, and free from any reputation worth protecting. I step back and address the crowd one final time. For those of you who invested money with Rory, I suggest you contact the police. Fraud is a felony in this state. I walk off the stage and head toward the exit. Behind me, I can hear the crowd surrounding Rory, voices raised in anger, phones still recording her humiliation. Logan catches up with me in the parking lot. That was brutal, he says. She earned it. What happens now? Now she faces the consequences of her choices. The investors will file complaints, the police will investigate, and she'll probably end up in court. And us? There is no us, Logan. You were a victim too, but you were also a willing participant in breaking up my marriage. Don't expect sympathy. I get in my car and drive away, leaving Logan standing in the parking lot with his damaged Tesla and his damaged pride. At home, I pour myself a whiskey and sit in my leather chair. My phone is buzzing with notifications. The video of tonight's confrontation is already spreading on social media. By tomorrow, everyone in Millbrook will know exactly what Rory Marrow did and how it ended. Danny calls at 11 p.m. Dad, I saw the video. And? Is it true? All of it? Every word. I can't believe Mom would do those things. Your mother made choices, Danny, bad choices. Now she has to live with the consequences. What about us? What about our family? Our family ended the night your mother handed me divorce papers in front of 50 strangers. Everything that happened after that was just cleaning up the mess. We talk for another 10 minutes. Danny is crying by the end, finally understanding that her mother isn't the victim she pretended to be. It hurts to hear my daughter's illusions shatter, but illusions built on lies never last anyway. After we hang up, I sit in the quiet house and think about the look on Rory's face when she realized her world was collapsing. The moment she understood that all her careful planning, all her manipulation, all her lies had led to this. Standing alone on a stage while a room full of people she'd betrayed demanded answers she couldn't give. She wanted to humiliate me in public. Instead, she gave me the tools to destroy her completely. My phone buzzes with a text from Coach O'Leary. Saw the video. Remind me never to get on your bad side. I smile and finish my whiskey. Tomorrow, Rory will wake up unemployed, broke, and facing potential criminal charges. Her investors will be calling lawyers, her reputation will be ruined, and both of her boyfriends will want nothing to do with her. But tonight, I'm just a man sitting in his own house, drinking his own whiskey, finally free from a marriage that should have ended years ago. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. They're wrong. The best revenge is served exactly when your enemy thinks they've won, in front of everyone they wanted to impress, with evidence they can't deny and consequences they can't escape. Rory wanted the last word in our marriage. Instead, she gave it to me. And I used it well.